man, I almost didn't press the button. What's happening, everyone? Welcome. Welcome, 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 and a big old welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Hope that you're feeling good. Hope that you're doing well. Hope that everything is going the way it should over in your part of the world. Let's go ahead and finish out King Crimson's album, THRAK, with the last half of the album here. So we've listened to the tracks Vroom through Radio 1. So today we're going to start at One Time and work our way through Radio 2, Inner Garden 2, Sex, Sleep, Eat, Drink, Dream, Vroom Vroom, and then Vroom Vroom Coda. So we got a lot of rooming going on, but we're going to get a THRAK attack hopefully throughout this. Hope that you guys have enjoyed listening to the album with me. Hope that you guys have enjoyed the channel in general. I was just now listening to the first half of THRAK up to here, and I'm really enjoying it. It is very interestingly heavy, like almost like this industrial kind of mechanical sound, as if a little colder, I would say, than Red, you know, in the heaviness that was approached on that album. But you know what I was also just listening to? Lizard. Oh God, when John comes in, you already know it's over. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into the first track. One Time. I'll probably stop this one, talk about it, and then we'll kind of work our way through the next few, because some of the tracks are 5 minutes, some of them are about 1 minute. We'll just kind of play it by ear and kind of do that thing. Where did that phrase come from? Play it by ear. We'll find out some other day. Let's go ahead and get into it. One Time, King Crimson. Let's go. One Time enters the second half of the album. Oh, that is gorgeous. That is beautiful. King Crimson goes into this Sade lounge atmosphere, kind of slightly tropical, kind of not, but music that is just so good. God, I love when King Crimson, I love their sense of atmosphere. I love Fripp's sense of atmosphere and space and tone, and playing alongside in here. The guitar, the way that it's used is just, it's mystically gorgeous. Man, that feels so good. And then Levin's bass. Ooh, it's like his bass is filling this empty basin with this clear blue water that you can just see right through to the bottom, and you can see the beautiful colors of the coral beneath. There's just a certain kind of subtle vibrancy in the music. Baloo, his singing could rock the sea gently to sleep. Absolutely stunning performance here, really, from everybody. Light percussion, little shaker in there just to drive it along. I really enjoyed those deep bassy booms that just added this certain depth to the music as well, like a depth charge going off beneath the sea, and its echoes reverberating throughout the ocean waves. That is just so good. That is so relaxing. That is impressive. I love what they do with their space there. That's my kind of track. That is so good. Let's go ahead and get into these lyrics here. That's a good way to open up the album, huh? Just like this nice sense of spacey atmosphere. One eye goes laughing, one eye goes crying. Through the trials and trying of one life, one hand is tied, one step gets behind. In one breath, we're dying. That's a good line. I mean, it looks like it's just talking about life and going through life, and one eye goes laughing, one eye goes crying. You know, sometimes in life you're laughing, sometimes you're crying, but you have to remain focused as much as possible. You're not doing chameleon eyes, you know? Through the trials and trying of one life. And then one hand is tied. Sometimes you're at a disadvantage. You have a step left behind. And in one breath, we're dying. Life is short. It's going to happen at some point. Even if you get behind, don't lose focus of what's ahead. I've been waiting for the sun to come up, waiting for the showers to stop, waiting for the penny to drop one time. And I've been standing in the cloud, or in a cloud of plans, standing on the shifting stands, hoping for an open hand one time. You can't wait for things to happen. There's certain things that are naturally promised, like the sunrise and the sunset, but then there's other things that aren't. You have to actually put some effort into it. I like how he says, I've been standing in a cloud of plans. Perhaps he's made so many plans that it's actually clouding him, clouding his judgment, clouding his vision. And then he's saying blah, 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 blah. It says that he's standing in a cloud. That's not going to hold you up. He also mentions the very next line, standing on the shifting sands. He has no foundation. There's nothing for him to stand on. And before you make plans for the future, you have to have a foundation for the present. He repeats the lyrics actually pretty much throughout the rest of it. Yeah, he actually repeats the lyrics there again. That's absolutely a beautiful track. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. The next two tracks here, Radio 2 and Inner Garden 2, are basically a minute long. So I'm probably just going to let those two go together. And then I may just let it go into sex, sleep, eat, drink, dream. Maybe. We'll kind of see. Let's play the ending notes of One Time, because why not?
Rome now comes in muslin and lace to quiet the day.
I'm going to let it transition into the next song, and I'm actually not going to talk very long on these two little tracks. I just want to comment really quick and stop the music. I just want to comment that these transitions, the reprisal of this particular, Inner Garden from before, I think they work so well in capturing a cohesion and a kind of theme throughout this album. And while I'm listening to this, I couldn't help but think, how can an album sound so mellow and atmospheric, but at the same time heavy and kind of cold? King Crimson has kind of captured this interesting emotional dynamic in the music with this album, and I'm just kind of noticing it here as we're moving forward. I just really like that a lot. Like I said, I wasn't going to talk long. I really just wanted to make that comment, and then let's go ahead and move on into the next track. I'll let the ending of Inner Garden 2 play. Sorry. You see what I mean by a song or an album treading this line between cold heaviness and atmospheric tenderness? That's crazy. This song this song is kind of like a Crimson-esque junkyard blues with a whole lot of scrappage falling down. All right? The heavy section here, I have to shout out to the drummers. I have to shout out to Bruford and Masalato, because I don't know who's doing that particular drum section when it gets heavy, or if they're both doing it, but that groove just sounds insanely hard to play. When that, I can't even. I'm not even gonna try to mouth it. I'm not even gonna try. But just the speed they're playing, the intensity that's going on, and there's still so much subtlety in that moment there. And during that time, the drums almost sound like they're rushing a little bit ahead of everything. Levin turns his bass up, way up. Fripp's guitar just becomes demonic, and they're just kind of going all out. It's all thrusters on full. And then the way that they pull that right back down, sometimes with Fripp echoing, still screaming, still hot guitar as it moves back into the verse or the chorus of Eats, or Sleep, Sex, Eat, Dream, whatever the order it is. But I think that that's really cool. I think that it shows a lot of the diversity. And if you don't know about King Crimson's diversity by this point, I mean, you should know by now, honestly. And that frenzied section kind of balances out, once again, this kind of calm, barely lucid delivery by Blue. And what I like, and I'm going to talk about the drummer specifically, is besides the heaviness and the heavy parts of the song, the beats are so empty and so slow that there's so much room in between those beats to fill it with, extra percussion, some fills that don't even really sound like fills. They sound more like gracing the drum sets. or you can have Fripp add some atmospherics. There's some mellotron thrown in there. I would like to say that there's some backwards sounding guitar in some moments. Like, there's just a lot of room to play in the atmosphere, and they don't dense it up. Like, they allowed us the space to be a space. They still allow breath, but they just give you a little something to breathe in, a little aromatics, if you will, on the music there. So I think that's really, really nice, the way that they use the space and contrast that with the heaviness. Sex, sleep, eat, drink, dream. Primal, tribal, apple, egg, vegetable, eel. I have a new canoe, but it does not have a wheel. I was looking at those words during the music, and I was trying to figure out what I was reading. And I don't know. Private, velvet, animal, Oldsmobile, mind. I'm sitting in the fireplace burning up my time. This could just be a stream of conscious with words and like where their mind's taking them. It could just be words that are used to sound good. Private, velvet, animal, empty TV. They're fishing in the kitchen, but they haven't caught up to me. Primal, tribal, chemical, digital, night. I've got to get dressed to go out of my mind. I feel like there's some stream of conscious lyricism going on here. Because at first I thought, okay, sex, sleep, eat, drink, dream. That's 5 words, right? At first I thought that each of those phrases would also match up to the random words they're saying. But that was kind of thrown out the window of the first verse, because primal, tribal, apple, egg, vegetable, eel. Well, no, I don't think it works. I think in some ways it works, because if you're thinking of sex, I guess you could put that towards primal, tribal. Eat, apple, egg, vegetable, eel. Looking at the other verse, private, sex. Velvet, sleep, like sleeping on a velvet thing. Animal, you eat them. Oldsmobile, you dream of them, maybe? Mind, you dream. So I guess maybe you could argue that then. I guess you could argue that, thinking about it. Huh, okay, let's go ahead before my brain just pops out the side of my head like Blue Bolt or Thunderbolt or whatever that guy's name was. Let's go ahead and move on to the next 2 tracks. I might stop them, I might not. I might just let them go. That'll be Vroom Vroom and then Vroom Vroom Coda. I'll probably just let them go because they're instrumental, and seeing as they have a similar title, they might, relate to each other. So let's go ahead and play the last few seconds of Sex Sleep, and we'll go from there. We're just playing a little quick blues riff there at the end. We're just playing a little quick blues with just to end it all on a little bit of a peaceful note. Vroom and Vroom Coda. All right, can I tell you Vroom Coda? Just because that's the freshest one in my mind. It made me imagine the sounds of a very, very busy city, but reinterpreted through King Crimson's musical lens. And maybe that's because the name Vroom makes me think of a car. But some of the sounds, I don't know why, but it was making me think of cars going by, or just the constant shuffling of feet on the concrete, the hustle and bustle of the city. Like if you were to put yourself in some big city, put your ear to the glass, in whatever apartment or tall building you're in, and just listen to the street and the heart of the city. I think that this is like King Crimson's musical interpretation of that, or something of that nature. That's at least that's just what I felt and what I heard and what I imagined listening. Of course, it could be something completely different. And then Vroom. Of course, we got right back to that cold, metallic kind of sound. Very coppery in a way. But I like how they had one moment in there that was soft, a little dissonant, a little amelodic, but at the same time still keeping it all harmonious. And that's when I would imagine it's either Fripp or Blue. One of their guitars I mentioned was, it reminded me of a seagull screeching back and forth, constantly calling out among the waves. And then underneath that, the Mellotron was there. Of course, Levin's bass was there, providing that constant current. And that moment was repeated near the end of Vroom, but instead of being peaceful and kind of serene, it was just completely heavy and like a tidal wave that just washed over and destroyed some place, destroyed Atlantis before moving on to Coda, which they left a nice giant pause in there as a transition, or I should say a silence as a transition, and then built up the atmosphere once again. Which I also have enjoyed through these tracks is kind of like what I mentioned with those two interludes that were in there. There's a lot of atmospheric spaces and transitions in between each of the tracks, which kind of helps connect it all, makes this theme seem singular rather than multi-layered, even though the music is far beyond multi-layered in that sense. There's no lyrics to go over on this. I don't think there was any particular information that we didn't go over before on here. It says Vroom Vroom incorporates a middle section originally composed by Fripp for Red. The band also experimented with that in 1983 while working on 3 of a Perfect Pair. We haven't heard that one yet. Yeah, so I don't see anything immediately sticking out on here, but I think that the band did a great job of bringing all these different members in, all this different personnel, but balancing them out in the right way to still have this dense, complicated, not convoluted, but a dense sound in their music while still retaining those atmospheric beats. Because those atmospheric beats and tracks here on the album, I think are probably like the strongest. And personally, like my favorite, you know? Like One Time, I can't help but lean towards that track, at least on this particular side of the album, as being my favorite. I just think that it is so gorgeous. It's so beautiful, the way that they all came together. And Blue singing on that is beautiful. So yeah, that's the album. Let me know what you guys thought of this album. Let me know where perhaps we should look to next. I know that I jumped a little bit ahead. Maybe I should go back to something else. Who knows? Who knows? But leave your suggestions in the comments. Leave your comments in the comments. Your thoughts on the album. Let me know how this album made you feel. Perhaps your favorite track as well. And more than anything, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the video if you have watched to this particular point. You can, of course, like the video and subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter. You can support the channel over on Patreon. But thank you, as always, for being here. I really appreciate you guys. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you later. Bye.